Hello, in this video, we're going to talk about the three big ideas from chapter 4 from the book. We're going to differentiate between shape and mass. We're going to describe how three-dimensional space is represented on a flat surface using perspective. We're going to explain why modern artists have challenged the means of representing three dimensions on a two-dimensional surface. So shape is a two-dimensional area. Figure-ground relation is the relationship between a work of art, the figure, and the surface upon which the art is made, the ground. Shapes between the figures are known as negative shapes. The figures themselves are the positive shapes. What do you see here? A vase or two faces? If you see a vase, then that is the figure, and the white shapes around it is the ground. If you see both, then this is what we would call a figure-ground reversal, when both shapes and figures could be reversed. A mass is a solid that occupies three-dimensional volume. It can be measured with height, width, and depth. For example, a circle is a shape, but a sphere has mass. Martin Poirier's self appears to possess weight and density, but is lightweight and is made from wood. Negative shape is defined by empty space, surrounded and shaped so that it acquires a sense of form or volume. Standing vertical masses in Barbara Hepworth's two figures have negative spaces carved into them. The left-hand figure especially seems to represent anatomical figures. This painting creates the illusion of depth. Overlapping images, such as the helicopter atop a landing pad, imply that one object is in front of the other in space. A shadow provides another visual clue. Finer lines on the landing pad draw the viewer inward. One-point linear perspective relies on a single point, or vanishing point, on the viewer's horizon to represent parallel receding lines. When the vanishing point is directly across from the vantage point where the viewer is positioned, the recession is frontal. If it's to one side or the other, it is diagonal. This piece, despite the attempts to create realistic space via intuition, it really doesn't succeed in having a single vanishing point. The space it creates is slightly off-kilter. We can see this by looking at the woman on the right, and the box she's sitting on just doesn't seem really to fit in the space very well. Here, in Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, it employs really good one-point perspective and helps create a convincing space. Here you can see that the vanishing point is behind the head of Jesus, drawing all of our attention to him. Two-point linear perspective can be defined as a version of perspective in which there are two or more vanishing points in a composition. Two-point linear perspective results in a more dynamic composition. The canvas is divided into four equal rectangles formed by the vertical line of the lamppost and the horizon line. This multi-vanishing point perspective creates a complex and believable space. Japanese prints flooded the markets after 1853, combined close-up views of nearby objects with views of distant landscapes. This one contains a large gap between the pine in the foreground and the city behind. Modern artists utilize linear perspective and foreshortening to capture complex conditions of contemporary culture. But for many of them, distorting and chaotic seem to more exemplify the modern. Perspective seemed to impose a false order. Painters explored the act of imagination that led to more emotional paintings, rather than a realistic depiction of the subject matter. Here, Matisse shows a flattened space with a unified color and design. The tree trunks within the frame of the window mimic the winding designs on the wall and the table. Here, Cézanne's painting lacks spatial depth. The painting is almost entirely flat, where the left side of the armchair meets the wall behind it. The stripes on the figure's dress do not delineate the shape of her lap.